Oh, I'd come from Pittsburgh to study astrology. She said as she stepped on my instep, I could show you New York with their walk between 4th Street and 9. Then out of her coach taking 7 harmonicas, she sat down to play on a doorstep, saying, come back to my place, I will show you the stars and the signs. So I followed her into the black lands, where the window frames peel and flake, and the old Jewish face behind the lace peeping out trying to get to see what's cooking. Just John the Baptist in the park getting late, thinking there's no one looking. And it's 80 degrees and I'm down on my knees in Brooklyn. Her house was a dusty collection of rusty confusion with landings and tunnels, and leaning bookcases and spaces and faces and things, where 25 Puerto Ricans, Manhattan Mohicans, and Jewish Italian pawnbrokers lead their theatrical lives in their rooms in the wings, while outside in the blacklands the violent day runs wild, and the black and white minstrels run through the crazy alleys while the cops go booking, and the ruthless, toothless agents sneak around and there's no one looking. And it's 80 degrees and I'm down on my knees in Brooklyn. And oh, I'm back in the city again. You can tell by the smell of the hamburger stand in the rain. She spoke of astrology while muttering apologies for coffee that tasted of hot dogs. I said that's okay, mine was cold anyway and just grand. Then she lay on the bed while the radio fed us with records and adverts for cat food, and I looked at her holding my thoughts in the palm of my hand. And outside in the blacklands the evening came and went, and the bums in the street begging money for one last drink are hanging around the liquor stores trying to get a foot in. And the girl from Pittsburgh and I made love on a mattress with the new moon looking, and in the cool evening breeze I was down on my knees in Brooklyn. Oh, your pictures, they don't really do you justice, little girl, for you're careful not to let the camera touch your private world. And there's just a hint of sadness in your smile through the dark as you slip your dress off slowly for the sailor or the clerk. And it could have been so different, and at times you feel that, for you really did have something that the others never had. And the circle turns and turns and turns, so mad, little girl. You must have been just 15 when you made your mind up first that you'd make it in the movies, and you couldn't lose the thirst the agent king holds court, and his courtesans are fully paid up, losers of his sort. He looks at you and tells you that you just might get the part, but you don't get things for nothing, and he doesn't want your heart. And the circle turns and turns and turns, so mad, little girl. You made it to the silver screen, and yet you're not a star. And advertising corsets didn't get you too far. But money has its favorites, and yours went back to them. So you modeled in a studio in Greek Street for the rent. There you met Antonio, your lover from afar, who put you on the streets to make the money for his car. And the circle turns and turns and turns so fast, little girl. Oh, your pictures, they don't really do you justice anymore, for they're crumpled now and faded, and were taken long ago. And that faintly coy expression has now left without a trace. Ah, there's little of it buried in the ruins of your face. Could have been so different, and at times you feel bad, for you really did have something that the others never had. And the circle turns and turns and turns so mad, little girl. Oh, the circle turns and turns and turns so sad, little girl. Oh, the circle turns and turns, and it's too bad, little girl. David Foster lives in Gloucester with his family. Works till paid time through the daytime, comes home for tea. Steak and kidney, then with Sydney to his club and feels free. They close the bar, he finds his car, and then goes home to sleep. And his wife has been with Rosie in the parlor where it's cozy, watching telly, doing dishes, patching pants and making wishes. And he'll say Bill should have wired, and not tonight, dear, I'm too tired. And life drifts slowly by in the provinces. Peter Foster goes to Gloucester for his first school day. Bites his teacher, sees a preacher, and is taught to pray. Sees some birds and learns some words, it's very, very rude to say. Yes, he's rather like his father was in his young day. And his father has discussions, holding forth about the Russians. Will the Red Chinese attack us? Do we need the Yanks to back us? And in bed she feels his shoulder, but he grunts and just turns over, and life drifts slowly by in the provinces. Wedding rings come with strings, but love depends on the little things. Oh, could that still be really you? Is there anything time can't do? David Foster's been promoted, he's a decent sort. Peter's gone to Dad's old public school, it's good for sport. They've even got a private parking place down in Huntingdon Court. Maybe soon he'll be a magistrate, the neighbors thought. Yes, and then he'll teach the beatniks and the hang around the streetniks and the good-for-nothing loafers who knock girls up on their sofas. And his wife is quite nice, really, though she seems a little dreamy recently. I was born and brought up on the east side of town, and my earliest days, they passed quickly. I would play after school with the kids all around, in the sun and the dust of the back streets. Oh, all through my girlhood, though, war had its day, and my daddy, he would always be leaving. So my brothers and I, we would sit by her side, telling our tales through the evening. Oh, I grew with the days, and the boys came to call. In the back shed I learned about kissing, but I don't think my mother, she has noticed at all. For we've heard that my daddy is missing. Then my school days, they were over, and I went off to work. And my mother, she grew quieter and grayer. So one day I left her and went off to live with Billy, a saxophone player. In our broken down attic, we laughed and made love, and all that we had we were sharing. Oh, we slept through the day and played into the night. God, we did as we pleased without caring. About a year's passed away, and he's left me one day to play in a faraway country. And the sun told my eyes, you've got no place to hide, as I waited to be having his baby. Oh, I lived in the park, and the men passed instead, each wondering which one had lost her. And one came to ask, could he buy me a meal? And he said he was called David Foster. We were married that month, and I swore to myself somehow I'd pay back what I owed him, cooking his supper and cleaning his boots. Yes, and kidding myself, I could love him. Oh, but my baby is grown, and he's gone out to school, and he looks very much like his daddy. And David has buried himself in his work, and the time on my hands, it hangs heavy. Oh, the neighbors, they smile as we pass in the streets, and they make their remarks on the weather. but the butcher and baker deliver things now, and I've stopped going out altogether. Oh, I live by my mirror and I stare in my eyes, just trying to make out who I see there. But I'm looking at a woman that I can't recognize, and I don't think that she knows me either. There are lines on her face and her hair is a mess, and the light in her eyes, it grows colder. In the morning there is nothing will change, but yes, I will be just a little bit older. Mr. Willoughby, whose only luxury is the sugar in his tea, teaches history at High Worthington School. His clothing has remained unnoticeably plain, his common room technique suitably restrained, though maybe too cool. Work done in the summery sun, see the cricket ball fly intently, like a strange demented bird towards the sun. Considering its flight, he pauses for a while. Ah, but Mr. Willoughby, we've never seen you smile. Tell me how come? For sometimes it must get lonely. But it's life and life only. Maurice said, Renee, why didn't you say that you'd be so late? The supper that I made is ruined again. Is there anything you'd like? No, nothing, he replied, standing by the stairs, not looking in her eyes, so stupidly male. All dark and lying in bed, you've been with her again, she blurts out, then turning on her side, begins to cry. At first he doesn't stir, but then mumbling his words, he reaches for her hand, she shivers but doesn't take it away. But sometimes it does get lonely. But it's life and life only. Oh, Smithy Smithers fell, clock from Clockenwell, on the beach at Bournemouth, thinks he very well may be next year in France. Inspired for a while, he decides to risk a smile at Mr. Willoughby, who passes, polishing his glances, studiously averting his glance. Renee, several deck chairs away, wonders if they would be better, while Maurice is
with the kids out in the sea. And I was feeling small, sitting on the wall, looking at them all and wondering, who will I be? But sometimes it does get lonely. But it's life and life only. But it's life and life only. But it's life and life only. But it's life and life. Said, don't you think we're going downhill? And I would hate it to be run of the mill. Oh, love me or leave me, but please don't deceive me, for if you do, I'll know, believe me, I want you to know I don't want you to go anyway. Yes, I was doing alright up until now. I'm beginning to think you should have listened to her. She picked up her things and said, let's be friends. For all the good and the bad things have their ends. Then she went lazily, leaving me crazily wandering lost. The night was hazy and everyone else looking sure of themselves, but not me. And yes, I was doing alright up until now. I'm beginning to think you should have listened to her. Oh, she left me the keys and a dozen LPs, a phone bell warning, milk for the morning, and I left the dark on a seat in the park, feeling very strange. And yes, I was doing alright up until now. I'm beginning to think you should have listened to her. You should have listened to her.
should have listened to her. I can remember the first girl that I did love. It was Stephanie. In kindergarten arithmetic classes, she used to sit next to me. I'd pass the sticky sweets under the table where the teacher couldn't see. Although she wouldn't remember me now, sometimes I wonder where she can be. I can remember the first girl I kissed, it was Christine, when I was 10. I'd been told we were moving away, I thought I'd never see her again. Oh, don't forget me, I'll be back when they let me. Before you learn how to lie when you're leaving, love is so much easier then. And at school, oh, would you believe 300 boys and no girls at all, but you're a fool. If you should leave, just think of the joys of rugby football and prep in the morning and Brill cream and acne and cross-country running to kill evil thoughts. I'm surprised that I survived. I ran 10,000 miles with my back to the wall. I can remember the first girl that I made love to. It was in a park in the lower pleasure gardens in Bournemouth in summer, just after dark. My mind was reeling, oh what a feeling. I missed the bus and walked 12 miles home, and it really didn't seem far. And all through my 17th summer, running together from crowds and ties, taking our clothes off and feeling each other with fingers and senses and mouths and eyes, incurring the glances of old disapproval from elderly local inhabitants' eyes. Oh, time, time, we hardly even knew you. You didn't touch us with your lies. In the halcyon days of my late adolescence, my goal seemed clearly in sight. Playing electric guitar with the beat group, we set the ballrooms alight. Camping it up for the dyed blonde receptionists who told us we were alright. Oh, an ego trip for a teenage superstar on 30 shillings a night. And so it fell that I came up to London to look for fortune and fame.
starry-eyed, and my seaside success isn't much too sure of the game. First girl I met there, I thought I'd get there, but the first girl was nearly the last girl. She left my eyes in the train. She sat on my floor in the dead of the night, rolling a joint and looking round for a light. Her clothes were so black and her face was so white. How could I know what was right? And I sat all huddled upon my bed, watching her in my innocence. But it was no sense at all, but too much sense, that took me to the bridge of impotence. Oh, Otto's anthology lay spread on the floor, and the thoughts that she gave me I'd not met before. I'm stranded, half hypnotized, I watched her in awe of everything that she stood for. And I wanted more than anything to be like her with every sense. But it was no sense at all, but too much sense, that took me to the bridge of impotence. She came over to me and kissed me in play, taking my hand between her legs as she lay. And she looked in my eyes, but I turned them away, finding no words fit to say. And I hated myself, but could not move, shattered in my confidence. But it was no sense at all, but too much sense, that took me to the bridge of impotence. Now the stare of the light bulb tore holes in my brain as she got up in the silence that hung like a stain. And I wanted to speak or to call out her name, but how could I begin to explain? And my prosecuting room still holds a strand of her hair in evidence. But it was no sense at all, but too much sense, that took me to the bridge of impotence. Oh, I still think about her when the night fills with rain, speaks in its voices uneasy and vain. And I think where I may be to find her again, oh, I'd probably see her more plain. And I should have known she was just like me. It was after all only common sense. But it was no sense at all, but too much sense, that took me to the bridge of impotence. but it was no sense at all, but too much sense. They took me to the bridge of impotence. At first I didn't go out much at all, I just stayed at home in my chains, picking over the threads of my confidence and searching for the remains. And when I just couldn't stand any more of it, going down to a club, mixing in with the sounds and the crowds, I let the music cover me up. And only lonely the harlequins and painted phonies pick their ways through the haze of highs and lows and blues. And all that I could do was to pick my way to you. Though I didn't tell you, you were just a thing to prove. I was hungry when I found you, but I'm all right now. They sigh, they lie, the refugees and superheroes on ice. Oh, so nice to see you. What's your name? And all that I could do was to say the same to you. Take you for the moment, though the moment wasn't true. But I was hungry when I found you, and I'm all right now. Though the street lamp cut through the curfew, it shed no light on our mind. It would have been so easy to love you at any other time. Only lonely you came to me, the night hung coldly in your eyes. Some other time I might have stayed with you, but all that I could do was to turn around to you. Thanks for what you gave me, now it's time to say adieu. I was hungry when I found you, but I'm all right now. Ba 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 ba, all right now. And so it came that I stood disillusioned by everything I'd been told. I just didn't believe love existed. They were all just digging for gold. Widows and bankers and typists and businessmen loved each other, they said. But all it was, though, was just a maneuver, the quickest way into bed. And so I followed the other's example and jumped into the melee. In the hunting grounds of Earl's Court and Swiss Cottage, I did my best to get laid. Beer cans and parties, deaf girls and artists, bouncing around in the social confusion, missing and making the grade. very first time, I must confess, I thought you'd be like all of the rest, and we'd be strangers once again. By the time we were dressed, but when you'd smoked your cigarette and talked of some people that we'd met, I found myself asking, was it set? Did you have to go yet? And so you laughed and then kissed me and stayed for the whole weekend. Although the bed was so narrow, we had to sleep end to end. And so the weeks passed through my brain in that Dadaistic chain. I found myself seeing you again, and again and again. And all you gave it free, asking for nothing back from me. You gave yourself unselfishly as a part of me. And where I thought that just plucking the fruits of the bed was enough, it grew to be less like fucking and more like making love. Of all the girls I ever knew, some loved and some denied me, and all the words I ever said have been no use to hide me, and all the songs I ever sung, each one of them untied me, and all the girls I ever loved have left